Commodore 64 version of Gauntlet, the original Gauntlet, not Gauntlet 2, which also is available on the Commodore 64. I think there were a couple of versions of Gauntlet released for the Commodore 64. This is the U.S. Gold release, which I think that might be I don't know if that's the same one I grew up. I have an original Gauntlet for the Commodore 64 right over there on the shelf. But let's see what we get here. Player 2, joystick and port 2. Let me see what controller settings we've got here. Joystick settings. You know what? I can just do this with the keyboard. I don't need a controller. That should be up, down, left, right, and control, I'm guessing. That's probably good enough for me. Gauntlet, I don't know if you guys are fans of Gauntlet. If you're in a certain age group, everybody was a fan of Gauntlet. I actually owned a Gauntlet 2 arcade cabinet, which I eventually sold to the Arcadia Retrocade over in Arkansas. And that is where we're going to be. We're going to the arcade this weekend. And then going to go see the Eclipse on Monday. That's the goal. Drazu was always Wizard. That makes sense. 1 or 2 players. So let's see. We've got Thor, the Warrior. You guys, I don't know why I would be explaining Gauntlet to you guys, but originally the arcade version. There is actually a 2-player version of Gauntlet, but most people are familiar with the 4-player version now. Of course, on the Commodore, I think this is only a 2-player because you had the 2 joysticks. But each of the characters, this is like explaining Pong. Everybody here knows how to play Gauntlet, but each of the characters obviously had different abilities. Like the Warrior, I think, was the slowest, but he had the best armor and he did the most damage. I think Elf is the fastest. Valkyrie is the one that I think she's the most balanced. A lot of people play Valkyrie because she's the most balanced. And then Merlin has the most magic, but he has the least armor. So Draz asks if the game is beatable or it has a kill screen. So I believe, I have to look this up, but I believe, and of course, different ones may have different answers to this, right? But I believe the original maybe had 256 levels, and then maybe it repeated or something. But I know Gauntlet 2, definitely Gauntlet 2 goes on forever, and what it begins doing at a certain point is flipping the mazes horizontally and vertically. So they look like different mazes. It'll start randomizing them at a certain point. That did not like, hold on, let me change this setting here real quick. Key set A, configure key set A. Up, down, left, right, and should have been left control button. I don't know why it didn't quite like that, but let's try. Oh, maybe I'm supposed to do this first. There we go. That makes more sense. Let's see if it's loading there. Draz asks, do you all stand around not moving so the walls become exits as well? Of course, that's it's possible to get trapped in Gauntlet, so it's not an Easter egg. What it is because like you could get trapped in a way, especially in multiplayer. If you can move into an area and someone can move into the other area, and you could actually get stuck. And so it is a way to so that you're not trapped on a level until forever until you die. But yeah, that's why that's there. Commodore's got pretty good music and sound effects. Graphics are okay. And so everybody knows on level 1, of course, you could take the easy way out. Or you could go ask for trouble. I like to go ask for trouble. And most Gauntlet versions, you can hold down a fire button. And of course, I always thought that they were killing you when they touch you, and in a way they are. They're taking away your health. But when you touch them, it's hand-to-hand combat is what the game always says. Hand-to-hand melee. Oh, that's not good. I guess I could run around these guys and try to... Oh boy, let's just get out of here. What am I doing? I don't know why I'm going... Oh, there's some food. I might cut... Oh, look at this. I'm sure everybody knows that the bone things are generators. That's where the bad guys are coming from. So you want to try to kill the generators. Gauntlet is one of those games. Ugh. So, of course, there's lots of different bad guys. We'll see some different bad guys. Gauntlet is... Oh, magic potion. I don't know how to use the potion. Probably maybe a key on the keyboard. Probably should look that up. Maybe spacebar? Oh, it was spacebar. Yeah, good time to waste that real quick. So Gauntlet is, of course, a really fun 2-player game. I've never found it to be that much fun with 1 player. Gauntlet is known as the original quarter muncher, I think, because your health is always going down even when you're not dying. So that would be the... even if you're the world's best Gauntlet player, if you stay in one place long enough, you're going to die. Your health is going to go down. So that was, the way to keep going was to keep putting quarters. I think I may have done a podcast on Gauntlet. If I did, it was a long time ago. But just since we're talking about Gauntlet, I will tell you that I remember very specifically. I went I was in 7th grade. Don't shoot the food. I was in 7th grade, and a friend of mine named Andy, and we were friends. We were good friends. We weren't like best friends, but we were good friends. It was that time, that age where you're making new friends and stuff. And Andy lived right around the corner from Steel Rat. They lived, probably... Like if you're counting houses, 10 houses away, right? And so they knew each other because they lived in the same neighborhood. And I knew Andy because he was in the gifted class with me. So Andy and I had gone, I'd gone over to his house, and he told me that his cousin was having a birthday party and asked me if I wanted to go. And I was like, I don't really know your cousin. And he's like, well, here's the thing. My cousin is... mentally challenged and doesn't have any friends. And so really anybody who wants to go, we just want people to go. And I said, all right, yeah, I'll go to a birthday party. I said, where's the party? And he says, it's at Le Mans Arcade. Now, Le Mans Arcade was the biggest and best arcade around. It was the one that was at Crossroads Mall. And they were the one that always got the new games. Like Le Mans is the first place where I saw Dragon's Lair. Le Mans is, there's just so many classic arcade experiences I had at Le Mans. So I said, yeah, I'll go. I'll go to this birthday party. And so Steel Rat and I and Andy all rode together with Andy's mom to this birthday party. And when we got to this birthday party at the arcade, there was only 4 people. It was 3 of us and the birthday boy. So I guess it was a good deal, good thing that we had gone, right? And so Anyway, if you remember, if you were a child of the 80s, and I say 80s, I think even, they do this like with Chuck E. Cheese and stuff like that. But you would buy a package, like a birthday package, and you would say, we're going to have 10 kids. And so for each kid, they would give you a bucket of, or a cup of tokens, right? Like $5 worth of tokens or $3 worth of tokens, whatever it was. But the gist of it is that they had bought this birthday package for like, however many kids, right? Like 20 kids or something. But only 4 of us showed up. So because there were so few of us, they just split these tokens between the 4 of us. So normally we would have had like, $3 worth of tokens, but we all ended up getting like $20 worth of tokens, right? And so I remember we had cake. I remember that. And then right after that, after all that was done, we got to go play. And in the front of the arcade, they had a little area that was like for new releases. It was like on a riser. It had lights around it. And it would say like, new releases or whatever. So this would have been, I think, 85, and this was when Gauntlet first came out. Do I want to skip to level 8? Maybe, I guess. Let's wait out. And so that was the first time I ever saw Gauntlet. Now, Andy and Jeff were 2 guys that I played Dungeons & Dragons with. So we all played Dungeons & Dragons. We all, I'm going to turn that up just a little bit. Boop. We all played D&D. In fact, I think I talked about Andy and his brother, his older brother, was our DM for a while. So yeah, so we all like to play D&D together and stuff. And so when we saw Gauntlet, I was like, "This is D&D. This is literally." Overhead, Dungeons & Dragons. It was, I just remember being so amazed. Oh, that's death. Oh, boy, that's death. Oh, I hit the wrong key. Let's get out of there. Let's get out of Dodge. That was the wrong way to go. And so, anyway, that was, we literally, the 4 of us just sat there playing Gauntlet for like an hour. People were gathered around us, and we just had so many tokens that we wouldn't get off the machine. By the way, in case you don't know, where is the generator? Oh, it's right there. You can shoot diagonally. Gotta kill that thing. Stop killing me. So you could get these guys through these diagonal things right there. It's pretty tough to go very far in Gauntlet with 1 person, has been my experience. I could be wrong, but... Well, I mean, I'm not wrong. It's pretty hard for me to go very far with 1 person. It's a way easier game. Oh. Get around that. Oh, no! Oh, no! This is not going to work out for me. Oh, boy. Yep, we were 2nd edition D&D or whatever. Press spacebar to continue game. Wah, wah. But this is a pretty competent version of Gauntlet, really. I mean, for 8-bit systems at the time. I'm going to show you one here in a minute that was not as good. Oh, you can't even, doesn't even give you a chance to pick a different character. And of course, there were a lot of differences between Gauntlet 1 and Gauntlet 2, but one of the biggest differences was that in Gauntlet 1, what position you were at determined what character you were. There was only, 1 barbarian, there was only 1 Valkyrie, so on and so forth. But in Gauntlet 2, your position was just what color you were. So you were the green character. So there could be 4 elves. You could have red elf, green elf, So that was a big difference between Gauntlet 1 and Gauntlet 2. Oh, boy, oh, boy. See, like this kind of stuff is a lot easier with 2 people firing. Not as easy with 1 person firing. And I am pretty sure that I talked about this on a podcast because I think I remember saying this. But Gauntlet was one of my favorite games. Like as a kid, like it was just like I said, it was just a completely amazing experience. Oh, let's get out of here. And it's one of the worst. I don't want to say worst, but it was not a very fun arcade cabinet to own because the whole challenge with Gauntlet was how far can you get with the money that we have in our pockets, right? You know, when you were a kid and you had $1, it was how far can you get on $1? You know what I mean? That was the whole challenge, right? And when you play it at home, you could always just flip open the coin thing and keep adding credits. Just add credits over and over and over and over. And so then, as I used to make a joke, and I said, when you own a Gauntlet cabinet, it's not how far can you go on $1, it's how long until your back starts hurting. Because we were all old people. So that was kind of our joke, Rampage is, I would say, comparable. Okay, now this is the one where you got to go all the way to one corner. This is the wrong corner. You got to go to that corner. And really dodging it is kind of a fool's game because they're all going to catch up with you eventually. Yeah, so this one gets hard like later when it starts mirror imaging because you'll go to the corner and all of a sudden the key's not there. It's one of the other corners because it's flipped the level on you. So this is, if you're playing it in order, like we're playing it in order, this would be the first level these are grunts, right? So you got the ghost guys, and then you got these grunts that are just hand to hand. They just got these big old clubs. What else? You've got lobbers, right? Which I remember as a kid, I misread that, and I thought that it said they were lobsters, and I was like, why are these lobsters throwing stuff at us? But they're lobbers. And then you got the demons, right, that shoot fireballs. And then eventually, death. What else? I'm trying to think if there are other enemies. I'm sure there are. Lobbers are the worst, especially when you get on a level that they're just standing on the other side of the wall throwing stuff at you over and over. I'm just getting killed here. I thought there was a whole, there's these, I call them 16-bit arcade games. That might not be entirely correct terminology, but I put Gauntlet in this category. I put Commando in this category. And there was, it seemed like all of a sudden there were a bunch of games that the graphics weren't flat anymore. They were like kind of shaded, like the guy in Gauntlet, has a little bit of a shade to him. The people in Gauntlet, the walls, it's not isometric really, not like Zaxxon or something like one of those, but it was enough where it just kind of gave it kind of a realistic, look like it was a little toy model. And there was just something that was really appealing to me. It's one of my favorite eras of arcade game graphics, Well, that was kind of a stupid plan. I'm not entirely sure why I ran out there to go punch that guy in. Hey, Adam, what's going on? Yeah, there was always the thing about Gauntlet is that you could always buy back in, right? Like you might lose your keys or something like that, but it didn't matter because your buddy would pick them up, so it wasn't, usually wasn't, but the bad thing was you would lose your score, right? But I would say all in all, this isn't a terrible version of Gauntlet. The graphics, the character graphics, could be a little bit better. It's funny that they're not as good as I remember them being. You know what I mean? I do. I haven't set up the Sega Genesis version, but I do want to try that out. I've got another one set up here in a minute that we're gonna try. That's we'll get y'all's opinion on it, but in my opinion, it's not quite as good as this one. Have I played Fire King? I don't know. That doesn't sound familiar. I've played Fire Pro Wrestling. which is different. So here we are on the demons. There's another game for the Commodore 64, which maybe we'll play later, called Demon Stalkers, which was, I don't know if it was a Commodore exclusive or not, but it was very similar to Gauntlet. But, there's a few different ones. I thought Alien Syndrome is not exactly like Gauntlet, but similar. So there was, once someone came up with the idea, right, then it was... I probably shouldn't have got that just yet. Oh, the sequel to Demon Stalker. Yeah, you know what? I have played that. Doop, doop, doop. Yeah, these demon guys, it may look a little sketchy on this version, but they appear and disappear. They, like every other frame, they kind of disappear. So... but they're supposed to do that, like they did that in the arcade version as well. Oh, that was dumb. Boop. See, you could kind of shoot through those and take those little generators out. And again, this does support 2 players, but I have 2 joysticks, just don't have 2 friends. This is the maze, kind of a maze one. And introduction of enemy wizards. Now, I will say this is probably the first home... Oh, I'm getting pummeled here. So this is a level you can skip through 90% of it if you know where the exit are. Let's see, which one is this? Oh, I know where this is. Whoop. Watch out for death. Oh, I just didn't mean to do that, actually. Oh, well. Yeah, I think lobbers are probably the most difficult one to deal with. Oh, this is a treasure room. This would probably be a good place to stop, too. But the treasure rooms were just as much treasure as you could get. And, of course, the treasure room is much more difficult with 2 people because you have to, cooperate and not run opposite ways. But if you're both going the same way, then sometimes only one of you can get the treasure. So now there's a lobber right there. Oh. All right, well, that's not bad. There's definitely worse conversions.